What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. Well, today I want to talk to you guys about something. You see the title, something very profound, something very cool happened to me today. And I actually had a bodybuilding video queued up. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to go this route instead. I want to film this video and put it up. And it is very, very different. And I want to share this with you guys because I actually think it's a big deal. I mean, I think it's nowadays in this time that we live in, where in America, I just should kind of present it like that. In America, we're going through this kind of division, whether it's racial, whether it's, about President Trump. Some people absolutely love him. Some people absolutely hate him. We're clashing all over the place. And in general, it is very hard to understand for many people what being an American actually is. And when I grew up, it wasn't like that. We knew America was about freedom, right? It was about having our rights, about freedom, about not being controlled by the government, stuff like that, right? Well, today, I got to do something that not a lot of people get to do. Now, some of you out there may have done this, and you may understand exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you may have gone through this, which it'd be even more special and cool for you, so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're gonna have to start at the beginning. So as you guys know, I've actually talked on here about being a Freemason. Matter of fact, I'm an AF and AM, which is an Ancient, Free, and Accepted Mason. And during the progression to become a Master Mason or third degree Master Mason, if you go back to National Treasure, you'll see a part where Nicolas Cage and the whole group is trying to go into that place where the treasure is, and there's a crypt. And on it, he goes, so-and-so is a third degree Master Mason. Like, that is the only reference I can give you guys to where it's like a mainstream thing that would reference Master Mason, right? So as you go through, you get entered or initiated. You then get passed to the degree of Fellowcraft. You then get raised to the sublime degree of Master Mason. Now, these are 3 different lessons that come with a question and answer tests that you have to complete before you can move on to the next lesson. Now, when I was passed from entered apprentice to Fellowcraft, the other person I was passed with was my brother Mustafa. Mustafa Sadiq is his name. And it just so happens that Mustafa and I also were raised together. Now, when you're raised together, or even if you go through all 3 degrees or 2, but when you're raised together, it's like graduating boot camp or graduating high school together. Like, you have a bond that's a little bit different than everybody else in the lodge, right? Because you've gone through it together and you're doing it together. It's kind of like the buddy system, right? So Mustafa and I have a different relationship. We're a little bit closer than some of the other guys based on we have that bond, right? Now, let me explain to you who Mustafa is. Now, Mustafa is Muslim, and we take our obligations on a Holy Bible. Mustafa took his on the Quran. So that's something that I don't think a lot of people realize in Freemasonry, that it's not all about just God, it's about a higher deity. So when we took our obligations, he used the Quran, and I used the Holy Bible. Now, Mustafa is from Iran, and very interesting story. So he's married, has 2 kids, and he came to America, get this, after joining the American military in Iran during the war to be a translator. He chose to fight with America and fight against ISIS, and then come to America later on, get his visa, do everything through the proper channels. And it's been like 15 or 16 years that he's been here in America going through this process, right? Since then, him and his wife have had 2 children here, which are American citizens, and they've gone through the process. And today was their day where they were actually sworn in as U.S. citizens. And, he was at the lodge and he invited us if we wanted to go. So myself and a few of the other Masons went. Now, I've never been through this before. I've never known anybody that, a couple of my friends have become U.S. citizens, but I was never asked to go to one of these things or invited to go to one of these things. So I show up and I see Mustafa and his family. We have the greetings and stuff. And we go through like security and everything in the building and stuff. We're at like an ICE building, I think it is. So it was said, immigration and something, whatever it was. It was the ICE building here in Fairfax. And then it's time for the ceremony. So myself and the other Masons, we go in with, all the other people supporting the other people there that are getting their citizenships. And that's where it gets fucking awesome. It goes from being badass to fucking next level badass like that, at least for me. So as they start going through the whole process, and we're watching it, and there's a bunch of people in there that we don't know, of course. They're becoming citizens and all their families and stuff. And they explain to us that there's 35 countries represented in this one room. And I took a step back and I said, holy shit. I looked at the other Masons and I said, have you ever been in one spot where there was 35 different countries in one room? And like, no, I mean, like, to me, it's amazing. Like, like you may get 2, 3, 5, even 10 or, 10 or 15 countries, but 35 different countries of the world all in one room, right? And everyone is so happy. They're smiling ear to ear. Their families are happy. They're crying because they're becoming citizens. And they go through the Pledge of Allegiance. The Oath of Allegiance is something else that I didn't know about. They play the song God Bless America. What was really interesting was the individual doing the ceremony right afterwards said, that is the first song that you've heard as an American citizen. And everybody clapped and stuff, and I was like, holy shit. I'm like, hang on, time up. Now, of course, myself being philosophical, spiritual, just a lot different as I get older, I absorb things differently, and I appreciate things differently now than I did when I was younger. I probably wouldn't give a shit about any of this stuff when I was 20 years ago. I wouldn't have cared. But like, whatever, okay, I'll go see my friend, but whatever. But now I'm here to see my friend, and I'm absorbing all this other stuff that's going on around me. And I realize today's a day of firsts for all of those families. All of those people, today is a day, the whole day of firsts. Tomorrow is going to be a second day of firsts. And they're going to have a string of firsts from now on as their first day as an American. And when you think of that, it's like you're starting over. Like you're basically re-establishing yourself as an American. But it wasn't just that. I watched a room full of people that come from all different countries, all different backgrounds, different ages, whether they're men, women, there were kids, there's everybody there. And everyone was American, and they were happy. There was no arguments, there was no division, there's nothing about race or ethnicity, there was none of that shit. Everybody was on the same page, they were just happy to be together, having the opportunity to start a new life in America as American citizens. I said, holy shit, like this is something that I don't know if anybody else saw it this way, but in my mind, I saw it as, this is what America is. This is what America is all about. What's happening in this fucking room right now. I don't think many things in my life have happened to me as powerful as what happened today, which is why I'm sharing it with you guys now. Everyone in that room was literally brothers, sisters. They were one. Right? What is America about? It's about Americans like myself and the other Masons that were there and the other family members that were already citizens, right? Accepting immigrants into our country, right? And helping them get on their way, right? And all being on the same page as one and happy to be Americans to help each other out. That's it. That's all that was going on in that fucking room today. And I'm like watching, I actually started to tear up a little bit because I'm realizing in my head, I'm going, this is way bigger than just coming to see your friend and his family become American citizens. Like you're seeing what America is supposed to be right now. You're seeing the true backbone, the true meaning. You are seeing American people being Americans outside of politics, outside of judgment, outside of race, outside of everything. Nothing mattered. The politics didn't matter, the race, nothing mattered except they got those certificates that they are now U.S. citizens. And they were all excited and happy to become American. I said, we got Americans that live in this country that aren't excited about being American. We got Americans in this country that aren't grateful and happy to be American and live in America. And here we have people that just became Americans 10 seconds ago, and they're over the moon about being American. And I got to witness that. And I was like, holy shit, like this is something that, and if you've never seen a ceremony, you have the opportunity to do that, go. All right? Because I really do feel like if you go in there with an open mind, like listen to what I'm saying, go in there and look around. Don't just go in there like, oh, that's my friend. Go in there and look at your friend, his family, her family, whatever, and then everyone else around. Like observe the other families, observe the other people, how they're interacting, observe what is going on right in front of you, and realize that this is a powerful thing. Like this is what we are supposed to be, all together, all one. That's it. And I'm like, wait a minute. If this fucking room could do this, right? If everybody in this room could be on the same page and happy just to be there, right? Now they've gone through struggles themselves. Some of these people had a very hard time learning English. Some of these people had a very hard time finding jobs. They had a hard time learning they have a curriculum that they learn, right? They have to learn how to speak English. They have to learn how to, the Pledge of Allegiance. They have to learn all these things. And it's this process, this tenacious process, this tedious process of over and over again going through these things that takes up to 15 years for some people. And they didn't give up. They didn't back down. They didn't give up. They succeeded despite whatever obstacles they had. That's America. That is American ways. That is American attitude. That is being American before you're even American. I'm like, these people in this room are more American than some of the Americans out there right now arguing about politics. This is America right here. And it really, like, I mean, I was taken back by it. Like, I expected literally just to go there. And it was a simple ceremony. I actually thought, to be totally honest with you, it was just going to be Mustafa, his wife, and his kids, and they got sworn in. I didn't even know other people would be there. Like, I've never done it before. I have no fucking clue. I've never seen it on TV. I've never paid attention to it, right? So I thought it was just like us being their supporters and them being sworn in. And I walked into something completely unexpected, but that's where I'm at in my life, right? That's where I'm at. I'm open to a lot of things, and my vision is clear now. It's not like it was when I was younger, and I was so into myself, and I was so ego-driven that this wouldn't have made a difference to me. But I watch every day. I watch people fighting in America every day. I watch people arguing at the politics. Remember, I live in D.C., so everybody's fucking arguing about fucking, they either love Trump like a motherfucker or they hate Trump like a motherfucker. They're either, for whatever's happening with, whatever fucking happens with, the politics today because something pops up, or they're totally against whatever it is, right? And they're always clashing. They're fighting. They're protesting. They're arguing. They're making fun of people. They're going after people on social media. They're doing all this shit, right? And that's where I live. I live in that shit, right? And that's why I don't pay attention to it, because I'm like, you guys are fucking nuts. But here I walked into this place, I was like, look, this is where I want to be, in America like this, where everybody is just, I can't explain the vibe. The vibe was just the most uplifting, positive vibe that I've seen in DC with a collective group of people of that many since I've been here in 13 or 14 years. It was absolutely eye-opening. And then we went, Mustafa and his family invited us to have lunch with them right afterwards. So we went to have a meal with them. We walked across the street to this place called Moby Dick's, which is a kebab place. We had a great meal with the family. We talked about, how they got there, what they had to go through, the tests and everything like that. Like, we talked about everything, but like, we learned more about that. We learned, like, Mustafa wants to change careers and stuff. Like, we're talking about all this stuff, and I'm sitting there going, this is awesome. Like, even as Masons in general, we had Mustafa, who's Muslim and from Iran. We had another, I don't know how much I can say about the other individuals because Masons get a little secrecy going on. But we had another individual sitting next to me who has a very important job in the government. We had another individual who's retired and his wife had passed away. We have another individual who's a DJ sitting across from me, the other side, right? Next to him, I forget who was next to him. And then we have Mustafa's kids and the wife. And I'm sitting here just thinking to myself, just us as a collective, we're all so very different, but we're all bound together to one another through Masonry. But we literally care about each other enough to be here on this day for our brother to take the biggest step of his life. And I'm like, this is where I'm at in my life. This is where I live. I live in the part where things are changing. I'm changing. Like, the world is changing. It's a different place than when I was a kid. It's a much harsher place than when I was a kid, to be totally honest with you. But there's hope. There's hope out there that if these people collectively, 35 countries, all those people, right? If those people collectively, from all these other countries who may have differences in religion, everything, they may have differences. There's maybe 2 countries in there that hate each other. They didn't give a fuck. Like, there's a lot of places that, due to war and things that have happened 100 years ago, they just hate each other because of where they come from. They've never met. They just hate each other. It didn't fucking matter. None of it mattered. There were countries I'd never heard of there. And I'm sitting there going, but they did it. They did it. They put the work in. They got in a room all together, and they were all like shaking hands and hugging. Like, people didn't even know each other. They're congratulating each other and hugging. And I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, man, this is where we need to be at, right? And we all look at the world in general, or America, and we say, we're in the shits, man. We're in a shitstorm. This is bad. That's bad. I'm like, yeah, but this one little pocket in Fairfax today wasn't just good. It was uplifting and enlightening. That's where it starts. So I know some of you, this is going to be totally lost on because you guys don't give a fuck. You want to get swole, you want to get straight, don't give a fuck. But this message is important to get out. And this platform, I feel like, I don't just use it for the diet and stuff like that. I want to help people in general. And if one person can open their eyes and say, well, shit, Jerry's right. Shit, if they did it, like, all I have to do is make the change in myself. Like, me, you make the change in ourselves. If I can change to be the way that I was today, okay? I was the fucking heroin addict, okay? In the fucking gutter with no money. That was me. I didn't give a shit about anything. I was the fucking bodybuilder, loaded on steroids, and didn't give a fuck about anything about being huge and competing, right? My ego was so driven that I didn't care about anybody but myself in what I was doing. And if I can go from being that guy to who I was today, feeling the things I felt, thinking the things that I did, and realizing the realizations that I did, then so can you and everybody else. I mean, you're going to have to want to. But the thing is, who doesn't want to be better? Who doesn't want to get along with people? Who doesn't want to love thy neighbor and all that stuff? I don't know, guys. It was just one of those moving things that I was like, I couldn't wait to get home and talk about it. And actually, after the meal, I came home. I took Brady for a walk. I went to train legs because training is like my Zen time. Training is like my therapy. Training is my think tank. My phone gets shut off. I don't pay attention. Even if Aaron's texting me, I don't take any text messages, no calls, nothing. I throw that phone in my bag. It does not fucking get touched. And I can put my headphones on and just think. There have been times where I've had people walk by me and say hi to me. I didn't even fucking know they were there. I've had Erin say hi to me and walk by. I don't know she's there. Because I'm so in my own fucking head. Because that's like my meditation time while I'm training. So I did legs, and then I came home, and Erin was home. And we took Brady for a few walks around the block because he loves doing that. And I sat down, and I was just thinking, I was like, maybe I should shoot that video. No, I actually passed the fuck out. I actually fell asleep on the couch for like an hour, almost 2 hours. And, when I woke up, I was like, what the hell, what's going on? And Erin was like, it was a big day. Like, it was an emotional day, And I was like, it was. Like, I was drained. I was so emotionally drained because of, and not in a bad way. I was so emotionally drained because I was filled with, like, excitement. I was filled with energy. I was filled with enthusiasm. Like, I was filled with all these positive things and feelings that normally you're not going to hear about or see about. And that stuff was like, I was like vibrating on energy that I wanted to go to the gym. I want to go do legs. I barely slept last night because I had to get up early to go to this event. So I barely slept. I had no food. I fasted when I went and eat till about 12 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that, right? And we had kebabs. But I was in no condition to really go train, but I was so energized by the hope and the uplifting spirits that I saw that I went to fucking train. And I'm like, that's what it's all about. If you guys could feel what I felt, it was like a drug. Like that enthusiasm, that positivity, that feeling was like a fucking drug. It like energized me in like the best way you could ever think of. But man, like I'm so happy that, Mustafa invited us. And I'm so proud of him for doing everything that he's done. Going against the grain and joining the American military, being the translator, like he put his life on the line to help America because he thought it was the right thing to do. And then he came over here and didn't ask for anything, didn't feel like he deserved anything, went by the rules, worked his ass off, got to where he needed to be and did it through the right channels and stuff. And now he's a U.S. citizen. And I get to witness all of that today. And I'm like, man, I don't know if he probably won't watch this video, but so proud of you, man. I'm so absolutely proud of you that you've literally taken your life and changed your life. And somebody said to me the other day, he said, back in Iran, I would have never dreamed in a million years that I would have the life that I have now, have the opportunities that I have now. Like he created those opportunities. They weren't given to him. He went out there, grabbed it by the throat, and he created them. And here he is now. He's on to the next level. He's on to the next part, the next chapter of his life. And everything is falling into place because he's doing the work behind it. He's not expecting something to be handed to him. And I'm like, that's what America's all about. It's not expecting a handout. It's coming here to try to help America, to do your part, right? To be part of the American machine, I guess you would call it. I don't know what you would call it. But to do your part, not to be handed out and gifted things and sit on the couch and do nothing because I want. I'm like, man, that's what it's all about. America's out there and going and creating your own opportunities and going after what your dreams are and believing in it. He's an individual who left his home, went against the grain, did everything, came here, and worked his ass off to get to where he needs to be. That's what America is all about. Today, I saw America. The real, true America that I've never seen before, and many people will never see personally in person. They may hear it, comprehend it online. They may see pictures, hear a story. But I saw real America. And I feel so absolutely blessed to have seen that. It's just fucking awesome. Thank you guys for listening. I don't want to bore you guys anymore because some of you guys are like, Jerry, let's talk about getting jacked. I get it, guys. But there's more to you than being jacked. There's more to you than being shredded. There's way more to you that you're going to figure out as time goes on. And these little lessons, these little things that I put out, I'm hoping facilitate that little seed, plant that little seed in your brain to want to grow as an individual, to want to learn more, to want to be a better person, to want to see things for what they really are, what they should be, and how they could be, if we all chose it. BobStreetTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BobStreet.com is a blog. It's a congratulations, Mustafa and the Siddiqui family, and we are out.